going on. But what I was going to say to you is, what about, you know, in terms of shaping your interest in soul? You know, I know you as a person who sort of embraced the soul disco.
Yeah, I think that's more to do with my family, my cousins, and my father, because my father had a very broad outlook on music, and he liked anything from left to right. That's the only way I could describe it. He has some. He'd asked me to sometimes get records which I was even too scared to go and ask for, because as a young guy, that ain't cool. But it's your dad, you'd do it for him. But the soul influences, like I said, I'd hark back to the late 60s. I remember coming to even the record that doesn't even get played now, although it charted, like Jamo Thomas, I Spy for the FBI. Now that was a major tune. I Spy for the... I'm thinking, you know, and that's what really got me my hook. And then what did it for me, you said for Shaft, for me the funkiest side, Kool and the Gang, and they did Music as the Message, and I thought, what is this? And it just turned my world upside down, really. Music as the Message, Kool and the Gang. And then with later years, because what happened, there was a struggle with the Black Power movement, stuff like that. And sometimes I go to my cousins and the neighbour next door, we playing James Brown, Say It Loud, I'm Black, I'm Proud. I didn't really pay attention to the lyrics and the actual emotional content behind it, but I thought, man, this has got some sort of rhythm, man. And I was thinking, and that's what formulated where I was going. And as a West Indian kid growing up in the UK, you had that soul influence. Maybe it's the other way around for other people, but I always had that little reggae background, because my father, he liked ska. So all like the records, Jamaica and ska, all this kind of thing, yeah, and all the dancing. You can laugh at it when you look at the videos now, but that was big. Ska was major when I was little. You had to go to weddings and stuff. It was always a ska thing going on, like with Toots and the Maytals and like all different ska records, and Jimmy Cliff doing his ska thing, Bobby Kingdon, Scatterlights obviously, but like everyone thinks ska is Scatterlights, but there was all other Owen Gray. All these people who did
like, people like that.
Yeah, there was all these other little small artists. Jimmy Cliff even, yeah, like I said, he done a nice little ska, but you don't get to hear about it. And like that's what formulated me to decide this is where I'm at. And I think I took it to a further level than most people. Maybe obsessive, maybe in some people's eyes, but that's who I was. And for me, it wasn't just about a music; it was a lifestyle. And I think it's the same for you, knowing you.
Yeah, I think, you know, I mean, like I said, I talked about Shaft. I mean, the other things are, you watch Top of the Pops and you'd see any kind of black acts you'd kind of siphon onto, really, you know, in some way. So
well, it's a role model, because we had no one to actually look up to.
That's right.
That
a few times you saw black people. I mean, the first black person I remember on TV was Derek Griffiths on Play School.
Oh yes,
so,
of course.
You know, he was the only black face I remember back then. And then Sesame Street. That, you know, when you saw Sesame, because Sesame Street was American, it was kind of removed somewhat. I felt, you know, but I remember that, Coffee Fight, you know, Carl Douglas.
But did you see that on Top of the Pot? I remember.
Yeah, you know, where
watch that top
with the two guys behind.
The two guys dancing.
Yeah, that's
actually,
right.
Thinking, but I remember my cousins doing that.
So
because they used to go to clubs like Bird's Nest.
Yeah.
And they used to go to Q Club.
It was like a dance move.
And that was a dance move.
Yeah, that's right.
It was a dance move. And if you
I remember going to school the next day and talking about it, and you know, that was like a big thing, you know. Same with Hughes Corporation, Rock the Boat, you know, all of those kind of tracks. And then I remember things like that, Mr. Superbad, you know, the guy, the DJ.
Oh my goodness.
And the sold out compilations. You remember remember those ads that were on TV? And he did the things like The Message. That's when I heard The Message.
Oh, by Samanda.
Samanda, yeah. Okay. Back then I heard it, but obviously you didn't really think too much about who's that. You weren't thinking, I've got to get that. You're thinking just, that's a good tune. You know, that's something that sticks in the mind. It just reminds me of my youth, hearing that. You know, I heard it somewhere. I can't think of where I was at the time. Whether it was some kind of family party.
Usually, you'd usually hear it at a family wedding or something like that.
Wedding or something. You know, and you know, I used to go down to South London quite a bit. That was from Northwest London.
Okay.
You know, we had family, relatives in Camberwell, and also in. I used to go down to Greenwich. My father had a friend who served in the Navy, but he was in the Naval Hospital, Greenwich Maritime Naval Hospital. I think it's still there now. And we used to drive through South London, and that's where it'd be total contrast.
It is.
See black people, you know, en masse.
In masse,
you didn't get that where I lived.
Yeah.
There were pockets, but you didn't get it en masse. And those things, you know, I definitely say when I came back from Nigeria, and I mean I was there sort of late '76, early '77. It was a really quite a groundbreaking experience in terms of how I felt about myself. I was two different people when I went out there and then when I came back, and it got me to start searching for things, saying I've got to get into music. You know, I just started by listening to music. My mum.
It was an identity thing.
Yeah, definitely. I definitely felt that. You know, I felt very proud, you know, of my heritage,
which is good.
That was a good thing.
It wasn't the norm those days. You were always,
no.
Thought to think that you couldn't achieve.
Yeah,
so
I felt
nice
very proud of it. That's the thing at the time. It was definitely you know a mind shaping experience. That's very inspirational. So and that's